there, it is Emily with E Squared Photography. Erin is not with us today, but today I am going to talk all about 6 reasons maybe you're not getting beautiful portraits. So there's something maybe that's missing. Hopefully one of these tips will click with you and help you start getting those beautiful portraits that you desire to get. And don't forget, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell for notifications of future videos. By the end of this video, I promise that you will have some sort of understanding. It might be one of the tips, all of the tips to help you realize maybe why the portraits that you're getting aren't as good as you want them to be. And make sure to stick around until the end because we have something special that is going to help you out even more with this problem. All right, problem number 1, I feel is probably the most important piece to mastering beautiful portraits. It's a piece we struggled with so much when we first started out, and you can see that here in this image. But problem number 1 is inconsistent light. So lighting is everything, and making sure you're mastering that light is so important. And natural light can be very unpredictable at times, so we really have to learn to master it. So the ideal time of day to shoot is usually 1 to 2 hours before sunset or 1 to 2 hours after sunrise. We typically shoot later in the evening, closer to sunset, just because we're not morning people. Well, I'm not a morning person. And we are always looking for soft, even light. So what I mean by soft, even light is we're looking for light that is really even on the subject and even on the background. There's no blotches of distracting light that is drawing our eyes to. We're just seeing light that's consistent in the background and on the subject. Problem number 2 is obviously also a very important thing. It is getting the right camera settings. So incorrect camera settings can be a problem as well. So the biggest thing is manual mode. Manual mode is a must. So if you have not learned manual mode, that is something you really do want to dive into and start learning. Using a wide aperture is best if you can, because that's going to give you a really creamy, dreamy, professional look. So for our portraits, we like to shoot at a lower f-stop number, which would be a wide aperture. And then also keeping in mind to keep your ISO low to avoid grain. If you have your ISO cranked really high up, your images are going to be grainy. And then in addition to that, the other piece of manual mode is shutter speed. So making sure your shutter speed is fast enough to avoid blur. And we typically like our shutter speed to be at about a 1/250 or even higher if possible, so we don't have any blur, especially when dealing with little kids. All right, problem number 3 that can make your images just not pop and look the way you really want them to be can be a lack of posing guidance. So maybe you struggle with posing or you freeze up posing at a session. So gentle direction to help your subject relax and look more natural is super important. So really educating yourself on posing and really helping yourself simplify posing is going to help your images look better because your clients are going to look more relaxed. So one thing you really need to think about is creating flattering poses. So making your subjects look good. What are things you can do to make your subjects look good? We always encourage movement because movement is going to make them look more relaxed. It's going to relax them in general. And it just gives a more natural look, something more enjoyable to look at. And then we are encouraging natural smiles. We're using verbal prompts to get them to smile, like, hey, giggle away, or go, like for a senior guy, give mom a wink, think about your girlfriend. All of those things is going to give you more natural smile. Problem number 4 is another one. It's not as important. Lighting is way more important than this, but this is another problem that can happen in creating images that you're just not loving. It's not enough post-processing. So what we mean by that is editing really does enhance colors, lighting, and sharpness. So really understanding Lightroom and what to do inside of there is super important. And looking at maybe adjusting skin tones if needed. Is their skin too red? Is it too yellow? Is it too blue? So really trying to match those skin tones and create a really good white balance. Another thing too that you see a lot of new photographers missing is they're not removing distractions. So if there were for some reason a garbage can behind this image, we would want to remove that, right? If you see bugs flying or hair, stray hairs going crazy places, you want to really remove those so it's not distracting to the eye. And then another thing is retouching if necessary. So if someone has any blemishes or bruises or scrapes or anything like that, making sure we're taking time and retouching those things to really make our images look really high end. And then also the last one is using the correct software. So we use Lightroom Classic. Lightroom Classic is an excellent software to use for editing. Okay, problem number 5, and this one again isn't as important as the others, but this is one that can really help make your images look more professional. So using the wrong lens can be a problem. So our portrait lenses that we like to use are the 85 or the 50 millimeter. Those are our favorite by far. We use those for seniors, for families, for bigger groups, for couples. We use them for all of those things. And the quality of a lens is important. And when you're dealing with a lens, if you can find one with a lower aperture. So what I mean by that is if you look at your lens, some cameras come with something called a kit lens. If you look at that lens, it will tell you on the actual lens what aperture it goes down to. So it might say 70 to 200 f4.4. So that means that the lens will go down to an f-stop of 4.4. So the lower it goes, the higher quality lens it typically is. So for example, for a 50 millimeter lens, we have the 50 millimeter 1.8 and we love it. And it takes beautiful portraits. Some people purchase a 50 millimeter 1.4 or a 1.2, and those are more expensive, higher quality lenses. So finding a lens with that lower f-stop is really going to help you create beautiful portraits with that beautiful bokeh. All right, problem number 6 actually might be more important than the others, but it is in general just the best thing you can do to help improve your images. So this is experiment and practice. So experiment with different light sources, camera settings, and lenses, and take time to try new poses and adjust. So really just getting out and practicing, and you're going to become more natural at it, at finding good light, knowing the best camera settings, knowing how to pose your clients. All of those things are going to then become more natural when you practice. All right, so hopefully those tips were helpful. Now, if you do struggle with camera settings, maybe manual mode, focus, and the best thing to do with focusing, or maybe you just want to see us behind the scenes at a shoot, well, we have a free portrait photography starter kit with all of those things. So you're going to get little mini video lessons to see us behind the scenes, camera settings. We're going to talk about camera settings, talk about focus. It's just like a little mini course that you can get, and it is absolutely free, and you can find that in the description below. If you found this video today helpful, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time.